especially false ones. Story 1. Stereotype that frustrates me. Men cannot be raped or sexually assaulted because men always want it. Story 2. Oh, are you babysitting your child? Giving mom a day off? No, ma'am. I am raising my son. Don't project your failure to choose a loving partner and co-parent onto me. Story 3. Men who are not successful in dating and relationships do not necessarily deserve it. It is not because they are bad people. Story 4. Any explanation, whether from excitement or to correct wrong information, is called mansplaining. Fathers are not needed in a newborn's or young child's life. We want sex all the time and with everyone. We all cheat. We can show any emotions other than anger and lust. Women cannot physically hurt us. A man refusing sex is gay, has a small penis, or another reason. Men cannot be sexually assaulted. Story 5. The idea that every black man is a thug or gangster is deeply offensive. Frustrates me greatly. I am the kindest person you will meet today. Please do not stereotype me. Story 6. If you do not work with your hands and have a manual labor job, you are not a real man with a real job. That is insecure and toxic nonsense. Story 7. Disagreement or counterpoint equals narcissism. Fact-checking equals explaining in a condescending way. Being friendly equals trying to get in their pants. Being quiet equals rude and obnoxious. These are a few examples that come to mind. Also, passing absolute judgments based on supposed knowledge from short social media videos. Story 8. Dads are often seen as totally useless when it comes to parenting, as if they are an extra child. There is so much male bashing that is normalized, yet any slight against a woman is considered offensive. I am raising both my boys as the primary caretaker, and people are baffled. Many female friends even comment that I am not the standard for being a useful man compared to their partner, who is also present. Sorry, guys, for not getting credit. Also, some people think dressing well somehow means you are gay. Story 9. I hate pretty much all of them. Men are supposed to be extroverted go-getters. No, I am not. I am the opposite. Men allegedly can have sex without any feelings. No, absolutely not. I cannot. I would never have sex without feelings. Men are supposed to not feel. Guess what? I feel deeply and intensely. There are many more of these stereotypes, and all of them are false and damaging. Story 10. Not all men instantly know everything about sports. I know the big names, but I don't follow or care to know anything about sports. Nothing against those who do, but it's annoying when, upon first meeting someone, the first question is, "Did you see the game?" Or "What team do you follow?" Story 11. Men do care about how they look. There is a reason why the 300 workout, How to Look Like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, and similar videos and articles do so well. It is not because the media does not pressure men to look a certain way. Story 12. That men should not display their emotions is probably the most harmful belief because it causes many men to bottle up their feelings, leading to deeply ingrained emotional trauma. Story 13. We share intimate details about our sex lives with our friends. This could never be further from the truth. Story 14. That I am sexist. It is so deeply ingrained in the minds of women that even my friends forget to see me as a person and see me as a man first. Bad faith arguments, zero benefit of the doubt. Story 15. I absolutely love gaming and animation. I do not understand why women find them to be such unpleasant activities. Story 16. Not every father who is not involved in their children's lives is a deadbeat. Mothers sometimes use family court to limit fathers' involvement more often than society acknowledges, and in some cases, mothers are rewarded for doing so. Story 17. We are obsessed with Rome. Rome was the backdrop for the largest American religion, and we carry their execution crucifix with us. Our medical terms are Latin. Our soldiers carry their equipment on their backs using the Marian method. I could go on, but it is silly to pretend people do not think about the tree rings of the society they live in. Story 18. We should not assume everyone is automatically technically gifted. I had no father and no one to teach me. Let me play this YouTube tutorial and focus in peace. Story 19. Men are simple. I've heard men say this, like speak for yourself. I am not simple and I do not think most men are. I know simple is often used to mean basic, not stupid, but my argument still stands. Men are not basic or easy or born with a one-track mind. If you think that, especially of yourself, then you do not understand what a person is. Story 20. I absolutely hate the stereotyping too. I find myself commenting and defending when I see a person say, all men do this. I just have to say, excuse me, no, this is not accurate. Story 21. That we do not have feelings and we do not cry. I cry all the time just thinking about how much the Reddit community means to me. I just cried today because I saw that it is supposed to be cloudy with a chance of rain tomorrow. I do not even have an umbrella. Story 22. That I am always supposed to be available and able to fix things, carry heavy objects, do the work, listen, hold a conversation, and never be too tired, sore, or depressed, or have anything else going on when I am needed because I am the man. Story 23. Not necessarily a male stereotype, but whenever I see a woman comment, I hate to agree with a man when he is objectively correct. Story 24. Oh, you're a gamer. Like, excuse me, princess. Redeeming qualities that get overlooked. Watching any anime with over 1,000 episodes. Commitment. Don't know where your man is? A nerd is usually at home on the PC on Discord playing a game with a blank sheet of paper. Qualities include time management, strong healthy relationships, and roleplay capabilities. Don't feel like going out? Same. Why spend $120 on 3 drinks and a cover charge when instead you can get brand new Mario Kart, a bottle of tequila, Chinese takeout, and spend the entire night in pajamas? That's money management skills, quality time, and attentiveness. Story 25. We are always primed and ready for sex, and if I am not in the mood, it must mean that I do not find them attractive anymore or that I must be cheating. In reality, the stress of daily life can make sex the last thing on my mind. Story 26. You are showing emotions? That is so unmanly. Or any variation of this. I am allowed to cry when I am sad. Dagnabbit. Story 27. I have a thing against cookie-cutter jocks. They watch sports a lot, always wear a t-shirt, shorts, and a baseball cap. It's like some kind of uniform. They basically all look the same. It is often hard to have a meaningful conversation with them. However, they brighten up considerably when talking about sports. Story 28. What we all want is sex. What I want more than anything, including sex, is a deep emotional connection. That is much rarer and more precious than sex. Story 29. I really dislike it when other men say things like, we are simple creatures, we are not that deep, we are not complex, or we are easy to please, especially when they contrast it with the supposed complexity of women. I see it all the time. Why men feel proud to present themselves as one-dimensional animals, I'll never know. But of course, it is false. We are all human, so we are all complex. This stereotype perpetuates the idea that women do not have to put in any effort when being in a relationship with us because we will go along with anything anyway, or that every man can be understood in the same few simple terms. This is a recipe for disaster. Story 30. Self-proclaimed alpha males. Despite the fact that the concept was disproven, these individuals embrace it and try to make themselves somehow better than everyone else. Story 31. That we're emotionless or just always angry. I'm always angry because no one cares how I feel, and I have no one to talk to about hard things. The moment I'm upset, her world comes crashing down, and I have to handle her emotions. That all we want is sex. Yes, I want it, but would it kill you to just be affectionate? Or at the very bare minimum, don't make me the only one initiating affection. The whole happy spouse, happy life idea frustrates me too because men's happiness isn't considered. But I don't know if that qualifies for this prompt. Story 32. That we want to have sex with a woman in the first place? Absolutely not. I am genuinely curious about the person first, and even if I like you as a person, that is not a sufficient condition to be attracted to you romantically. Story 33. Just existing in a predominantly female school activity with my own child seems to make people question me. I have custody of my daughter. She is a cheerleader. I show up to meetings, booster club, fundraising, and more. They glare at me and never talk to me. They took a vote on officer roles, and I didn't even exist to be voted on. Do I want to be involved in those roles? Absolutely not. Do I want to be accepted as an equal in an area where I support my child emotionally and financially? Yes. I am going to keep showing up. My ex attends the fun events, dinners, and takes the glory while I am sidelined being the parent who puts in the work. Then my daughter comes to me crying because her mother did not understand something and blamed her for all the day's problems. So whatever stereotype I am falling into, I do not care. I am only here for my child. Sorry, I needed to vent. I hate small-town politics and unpleasant people with pseudo-power. Story 34. Body issues are not only for women. By all means, go ahead and make jokes about the one part of our bodies that every man is insecure about, as if it is fair game. Story 35. We refuse to ask for directions. This is probably not as common these days with map applications, but it was a widespread stereotype before smartphones. I was always willing to ask for directions. It was my wife who refused and preferred to just follow her instincts. Story 36. The assumption that every man is a closet pedophile. I am a teacher, but I started out working in daycares. I have been yelled at for helping a male child with a bathroom accident and have been looked at sideways when a child came up to me asking for a hug. I am at a much better school now, but I still receive occasional reminders that I will always be scrutinized more than my female peers. Story 37. We care about trucks and fast cars. Sports cars and big trucks can be nice, but my manhood is not tied to the car I drive. Story 38. Men are not stupid or useless because they are men. Am I right or am I right? Or that the only emotions we can feel are anger and desire. Story 39. That we are supposed to have no emotions. We are all human. Thankfully, this stereotype and belief is slowly fading. Story 40. We do not help with the children or basic housekeeping duties. I do more around the house than my wife. Story 41. If one man shows emotional intelligence or intimacy toward another, then he has to be gay. I wish we were allowed to have close relationships in media without them being sexual. Story 42. We are all flawed. I grew up as the youngest with 2 older sisters. I care deeply about the negative impact some men have on women. I know I am not a bad person, and people often say to just be a good person and everything will be fine. While that is mostly true, the constant narrative of men being bad is still a difficult feeling. To be completely transparent, I do not think any of this is women's fault. It is the fault of those men who behave poorly, but it is a reality nonetheless. Many men are equally annoyed and tired of stereotypical portrayals of men. Stereotypes are the bane of the existence of the average person. For instance, the Republican Party misusing religion. I know that not all religious people are despicable, but those who play a large part in our view of the group as a whole. Many men also dislike other men. They do not represent us as a whole despite how much they try to. Story 43. We all have different interests. I like Legos, but I have lost twice by getting a hammer instead of a Lego set for my birthday. Story 44. All guys love beer, and you aren't manly if you don't. I'm in my mid-40s and have tried countless beers in the last 25 years. Everything from Budweiser and Coors to concoctions made at local brew pubs and home microbrews, and they all taste like rancid water to me. It was always irritating going out in my 20s with my friends because they would order Black and Tans, Guinness, Pabst Blue Ribbon, or whatever cheap beer was on tap. When I ordered a Long Island iced tea, any margarita, or something as simple as a Jack and Coke or an old-fashioned, I had to deal with getting teased by my buddies about needing something else along with my drink or whatever nonsense they could come up with. People like different things. Many women enjoy various beers, and these days my drink of choice is still a margarita if I go out or just some Crown Royal when I'm at home. Story 45. Absolutely all of them. But mostly that we are all goblin-like sex offenders or something similar. The problem is that the media constantly exacerbates these stereotypes. Many people who are not men do not realize how common normal guys are. Anyone who has committed a sex crime is not normal. Anyone who catcalls is not normal. Anyone who stalks someone or does not take no for an answer is not normal. Story 46. That it's our fault. Today's culture tells us that we are supposed to take all of the responsibility but relinquish all of the control. I am not going to be responsible for what I cannot control. Figure out your own satisfaction. Story 47. Honestly, all of them. I really detest gender stereotypes of any kind. We are all individuals after all. So let us be seen as just that. Story 48. Having to like traditionally masculine things such as guns, football, and trucks to be considered a masculine man is not necessary. I do not care about those things. Story 49. Isn't that what the newer generations today are all about? Living without labels, or at least choosing your own. Story 50. Nice vehicle. Actually, anyone immature enough to make assumptions about someone else is not worth considering. Story 51. Men have to be closed people. If you talk about how you are feeling, that is a sign of weakness. That is just untrue. I am basically an open book when I talk about my feelings, especially with my wife. When you show transparency, you will receive it back. Story 52. Men are often perceived as always having a strong sexual desire. However, this is not always true. Sometimes, getting enough sleep is more important. Story 53. Showing emotions and feelings is considered unmanly and weak. I was constantly told that we have to be the sole breadwinners and that being a stay-at-home dad is frowned upon. Story 54. When I get called gay or a coward for not talking to certain girls at the bar by my male friends, it doesn't really bother me much. However, I do find it funny that they feel any girl who walks into a bar is an automatic reason to go and talk to her. Story 55. Assuming that men who are nice or complimentary to women only do so because they want to sleep with them is a tired stereotype that needs to end. Yes, I can be nice to women and compliment their looks without being attracted to them. It is called being a normal human being. Story 56. All you men think about is sex. We have plenty to think about. We are not just male sex robots. If you think we are, it is a sign you are shallow. Story 57. All men are dangerous. All male security personnel are in it to be big and powerful. Men should put effort into almost everything. Men who drive certain cars are not real men. The idea of real men is stereotypical. Men should not be left alone with children. A man with a child is considered babysitting. Men only want sex. Men who suffer from mental health problems should man up or toughen up. Story 58. I am sick of overweight, unproductive men in sitcoms getting attractive women and slouching around drinking beer. Sometimes it is funny, and the point of the show is that the character is comically flawed, but it has become so common that television makes it look normal. Family Guy, The Simpsons, Kevin Can Wait, Young Sheldon, and the Goldbergs come to mind. You get the idea. Story 59. I do not have children and do not intend to, but when a father looks after his child, it is called caregiving. Story 60. Doing a job differently from the way your wife would do it means you are using weaponized incompetence. Story 61. That grown man at the playground who is there with his son or daughter should be watched closely. He might be up to no good. Story 62. Woman here. I don't think it is a man's job to ensure his world revolves around his wife or partner. Go have your life too. If you do not get enough respect, love, attention, and care, then walk away. The bare minimum is absolutely necessary. A happy wife does not mean a happy life. Do not live in the fear of losing what cannot serve the partnership. Respect yourself and choose your partners carefully. Story 63. I hate that some women, in particular, think that all men are aggressive. An aggressive man is certainly something to dislike, absolutely, but don't chalk up one bad apple and pin it on the rest of us. I especially hate it because, at the basic societal level, women need good men to eliminate the bad men from society and from stalking or harassing them. I never understood the sentiment all men are violent or forget men. Like seriously? Story 64. Older people are just plain old and dumb to youngsters. When you get a lot older, they treat you in a weird, patronizing way. Honestly, we all still feel like we are 18 in our minds. Story 65. Men are simple. No, there are things about us that are simple. But men are often complex in many other ways. We may not be all that complicated in romance, but there are reasons beyond the idea that men are simple. It just seems like a way for people to shut their brains off when thinking about men's desires and needs. Story 66. Alpha male tradesperson. They can be more difficult as they get older. They believe only they know how to fix things. They blame every ethnic group around them. They rarely admit to their mistakes. Their way of speaking resembles attitudes from the southern United States in the 1940s. Story 67. That we will have intercourse with any opening. I do not see men engaging in sexual acts with donuts, beagles, or tailpipes, though cows and goats are more likely candidates. Those are just a few examples, not everything. Story 68. Genuine arrogance is the main issue. Having to be professionally impressive to be treated with decency means men will attempt to do that. Story 69. For me, any statement about being a real man really irritates me. Most of these statements are tied to ideas like, a real man doesn't play video games, or a real man shouldn't like feminine things because it makes them weak. Story 70. Poor men are broke and have failed somehow. It is their fault. Poor women are struggling, and someone else is to blame. There is some element of reason in these views, as many women, especially older divorced women, face significant financial difficulties. That said, it is surprising how casually society accepts these two statements without any nuance. Story 71. Because I have been through some difficult experiences in my life and I am a man, I have a lot of buried emotions that I am not allowing to come to the surface so I can heal. It does not work that way for everyone. Story 72. It is those who say that emotions are a weakness who are truly weak. I believe it is weaker to hide your emotions than to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Disregard those people. Story 73. Male body standards and the claim that they do not exist. Take any action movie from the last 30 years and look at any scene where a man is naked or has a bare upper body. I guarantee that 90% of those physiques were achieved through dehydration. I know Wolverine's shirtless scenes as well as Captain America's were done that way. Story 74. We have all this privilege, and it provides us with safety and opportunity at every turn, often at the expense of others. Story 75. So many, but the biggest one is the classic idea that men do not or are not supposed to cry, and those who do are sissies. Remind me never to take those people to a veteran's funeral. Also, a fifth grader started crying a couple of weeks ago because someone hurt his feelings. It was serious bullying. He went into the hallway to cry, and I gave him a stuffed lion to hug while he was out there. He really appreciated it and said nobody had ever done that with him before. Story 76. My wife loves that I am a gamer because it means I am at home and not out drinking with friends. Story 77. I am not looking at other women. There is only one for me, and that is my girlfriend. Or maybe when we get a female dog, then I will have two. Oh, my sister just had a baby girl, so I already have two. Story 78. That we will have consensual intimate relationships with any woman. I have standards too, and I expect a woman to make some effort as well. Story 79. That's fine if a female sexually assaulted a male. Eddie Murphy made it the plot point of Coming to America too. It really upset me that no one questioned the women about raping the male character. Story 80. If you are in your 30s and do not have children, it is because something is wrong with you and not because you are just a responsible person. Story 81. I pretty much dislike all of these ideas, but I will mention a few. Men must provide financial income for their entire family. I am a bachelor and have no romantic experience. I am currently living with my parents because my apartment is undergoing renovation and is uninhabitable at the moment. Men must never show any emotion because it is a sign of weakness. It is human to show emotions, is it not? Story 82. We are not men because we do not try to get in every woman's pants. I had about 5 different girls in college say, "Oh, you are basically one of the girls," because I just was not overtly sexual about anything. Story 83. We should immediately be the protectors, providers, and problem solvers in any emergency situation. while women often avoid the responsibilities that come with equality. For example, observe what happens the next time there is a first aid situation or a fire drill at work. Notice who takes action and who stands back and watches. Story 84. Some of the "oh, your fiancé doesn't do all the house chores." No, it is 2025. I am a grown man and can take care of myself. Gone are the days when women had to serve their partners. She is my fiancé, not a slave. Story 85. Only interested in sex. Ma'am, I'm buying groceries. The only melons I'm interested in currently are the ones on sale, and I'm trying to remember if sloshing juices is a good or bad sign. The worst part is you're just out and about trying to get something, and a random woman near me starts picking up the pace or eyeing me with constant suspicion. It feels terrible to know people live like that. It definitely comes from past trauma or experiences. I'm sorry someone hurt you. I hope you can understand that isn't me. Story 86. What a concept, Also, it is crazy how widely mansplaining has carried over into every topic. It used to be limited to a small margin of discussions, for example, a man trying to tell a woman how her body works as if she would not know. Now it is, "Oh, you are trying to explain this subject to me in a very intelligent way?" Or "I am hinting condescension or sarcasm." It must be mansplaining. There is no other possible explanation. Story 87. The stereotype that men are emotionally hollow or naturally cold cuts deep. It assumes that we lack emotional depth when, in reality, most of us were never given permission to show it. Story 88. There was a new thread today that said real men should vote conservative, which earned a strong rejection from me. Story 89. Not a popular stereotype, but men can be sexually attracted to the same sex. It is incorrect to say that having those feelings suppressed is the right thing to do. When you are a man, married or not, people often assume that your significant other is of the opposite sex. They might say, "Your wife or girlfriend would enjoy this," assuming based on that. Story 90. That me grabbing a pizza tray out of an oven one-handed is me being an ultra-masculine muscle man. No, I did it because we have 5 to 12-year-old kids running about, and they don't understand ovens are hot, so I needed my other arm to stop them from running into it. This example is specific to me, probably. Edit. I did have an oven glove on. Story 91. The alpha male or warrior type is often obnoxious, mediocre, narcissistic, and self-involved. If you are constantly telling us you are an alpha, you probably are not. Story 92. The lazy man. We don't do enough housework. It's true it took my partner and me a decade to get out of each other's way and to accept a higher tolerance for mess sometimes. But when she learned she was needlessly repeating my chores and that my execution of clean, the absence of dirt, was higher than her standard, it was a watershed moment. A funny moment was when her mom asked why she was doing double duty. "If you want him to do it, get off the plate." My mom advised me to gently move her off the plate to do the task. We wrestled for a while, but by the time we were parents, we had a lot of the household stuff worked out. We accept there are households where the woman works a third shift. We insist some of that is perception and usually solvable. It's not an innately man thing. Story 93. The ruler type is caring only to those who do what he wants and becomes unpleasant the second you go against him. Fake kindness and otherwise unpleasant behavior. Belittling others, that type. Story 94. That men have to work and women cook. Some of my friends cannot even switch on the washing machine or boil an egg. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.